Hey guys, welcome to the video number 498. My name is Ajay Pamar and I welcome all of you. Very warm greetings to all of you, and in this another exciting fantastic stuff. Today I'm going to answer a lot of subscribers their questions which which have been coming from around, I think, from the last 2-3 months. And today we're going to see that how you can actually save the attachments which are in your folder, in the Outlook folder, be it text file, be it Excel file, CSV file, whatever it is, in your any specific drive. Now I already talked about this video 2 years back almost, but this time it is going to have something special. We are going to add some special features that how you can basically besides telling the VBA that you want to extract the attachments, how you can also ensure that is this going to be an Outlook folder or is it going to be a subfolder? You know the subfolders, guys, which we create inside the folders, right? So we will be talking about that. And the good part is that you can simply create this in the Excel. You can control the Outlook folder names or Outlook subfolders names by simply writing them in the Excel cells, and the VBA is going to take that. So this is something which I'm going to discuss today, and trust me, it is going to be extremely advanced level VBA and super fun, right? So now before I take you to that, I just want to share this information with all of you. If you're just watching the channel for the first time, we have got these 498 videos on Excel VBA, Access and Access VBA. This is the playlist link, guys. Without wasting your much of the time, you should pause the video and you can write it down. These are all the playlist. This is the sequence which you should follow if you're learning any of these specific subjects, right? For Excel VBA, this is for Excel, this is for Access front end, this is for Access VBA, and recently we have started the web designing as well, right? And if you're still wondering that what is this, the playlist is all about, well, when you go to my channel, this is where you get to see all these different playlists. Like this is for the VBA video, this is for the Excel VBA loops, this is for the Excel VBA Access. And if you just scroll it down, you're going to see all these different playlists. So you can see on this left side there are so many videos, right now, because of this zooming effect, I can't show you exactly the entire title, but when you see this, you will have the entire title. Like for example, this is on the Excel if function, this is on the Excel text function, this is on the Access table. Similarly, this is Outlook video is not new to this channel, right? We have talked about this Outlook part a lot. If you see this, I have already got 43 videos on this connecting Outlook from Excel, and these are all the different videos which you can see, and I can bet on that if you go through all these videos, you will have definitely a fun and super exciting knowledge, right? You will be absolutely thrilled to watch these videos. Now that's the reason is, as I always say, that because it's not that I'm uploading the videos. No, absolutely not, because I keep on getting the ideas from you guys. You keep on sharing your emails and posting the comments, right? And yes, to be very honest, I sometimes revert to you also that this project actually seems to be a very long project, so I will not be able to upload the video. But guys, anything which I can do for you through my YouTube, I'm just doing it, right? So that at least if you because I cannot actually directly upload the project you're looking forward to, in case if it requires a lot of working hours, right? But then at least I can do this thing for you, that I can actually give you the idea by uploading those small videos, and you can see that and you can learn it from there, and then you can make your projects, right? Nothing better than doing your things in your own style, isn't it? So that's it for now. Let me just now take you back to what we are supposed to do today. So as I was talking about that, we are going to today talk about the Outlook. So what is the idea? So the first idea is that we are going to set up the Outlook connection with the Excel VBA by creating the Outlook object, right? Now what does that mean? I'll brief you about it. I'm just actually sharing this information in advance with you, so that when I write the code, you should be knowing what we are going to do. Now guys, as usual, because we have to communicate with the external object. For Excel, the Outlook is the external object. So using the VBA, we will have to tell that dear Excel, we are going to communicate with the Outlook, and you will have to now give us that command. You will have to give us that platform. So that's what it means when I say that setting up the connection Outlook, and that is we are going to do actually by creating an Outlook object using the early binding method, right? We go to the tool option and we're just going to click on the Outlook library, right? So then after once we have created the Outlook object, once we know that now this is my Outlook object, then what we are supposed to do then, guys, in the Excel, I'm going to write here the folder type and the name. Folder type, is it a main folder or is it a subfolder? You can just write it down there, and the name of that subfolder or the main folder. For example, if it is a main folder, it can be draft, it can be inbox, it can be sent. If it is a subfolder, then whatever folder you have created. Now we will create the two headers in Excel, main folder or subfolder, along with the folder names, right? And then we will ask, in the step number 3, we will ask VBA to look through all the emails from that given folder which you have mentioned in your Excel, guys, right? Because suppose in Excel I wrote there that this is the main folder and the folder name is inbox. Now as you can see here, so in your inbox you can have so many emails. For example, these are all the emails, right? Now in all these emails I have to loop through, I have to check which email has the attachment, which email doesn't have the attachment. If the email has the attachment, then what we would like to do, well, in the step number 4, then what we do is, before the VBA goes to the next email, we will run another sub loop, which means that we will run another loop to see that if the attachment is there or not. Now for example, you have 10 emails. Now you have to go from one email to the second email, and then from second to third, and then from third to the fourth. But while doing that, what are you supposed to do? Why you are watching this video? Because you want to see that if the first mail has got some attachment, it should not go to the second email unless we are through with the first email attachments, right? So if my first email has got 4 attachments, I am not going to go to the second email before I before I save those 4 files in my D drive or wherever you want to save, right? So once we have saved the file, let's go to the next email, right? And this has to run 10 times if you have the 10 emails, right? So that's what I have talked about here, that if yes, then let us save it on the desktop. So if that email has the attachment, only then you will be able to save it. But what if your email doesn't have the attachment? Well, if not, then simply go to the next email. So if, like for example, you can see here, these are all the attachment signs, so this tells me that this email has got the attachment. Now if this email has got the attachment, let me just quickly save them, extract them using the VBA and save them in the D drive, for example. And suppose now here, when after saving these files in the D drive, the next time when this email is going to be accessed by the VBA, it sees that there is no attachment. Now if there is no attachment, we are not supposed to wait. Let us quickly go to the next email. When you go to the next email, then obviously you will have the next email on the check. If that email also is blank, as you can see here, then let's go to the next email. And then if that is also, in this case it is not, so it is going to run here a loop which is called the for each attachment, right? So guys, this is all actually about the this programming. Now let's go and write the code. So first of all, let me take you to this folder. I have created here folder type and the name, and as you can see here, I will write my folder name. This is the folder name which I have created, let's say Ajay, and this is where I have created a drop down. From this drop down, I can say that if it is a main folder or is it a subfolder, right? So this is a very small step which you have done right now. Let's go to the Visual Basic and let's start writing the code, right? So the first thing which you're going to do here is you're simply going to the tool reference and you're going to make sure that your reference should be Outlook 16.0. Now I'm using Office 2016, guys, so that's why you see here 16.0. but in case if you have a different version, don't worry about it, just click M, and now they are all the alphabetically sorted libraries. You will have to find your Microsoft Outlook, whatever the version it is, right? So when you go down, when you press keep on pressing M, then you will see here that this starts with the Microsoft, so Microsoft Outlook. So just go down further and somewhere here you will see that Outlook library. Make sure it should be activated. And how you can check that, once you check mark there, go back to the tool and the reference and make sure that we should have this library Microsoft Outlook 16.0, right? So now I'm going to write the code. So let's quickly go and write the code. So we're going to actually extract the file. So I just write here extract files, and the first step which I'm going to do here in this code is I'm going to create the Outlook object. Remember the step 1, we would like to go and create the Outlook object. So let's say I go and say that dim o as outlook.application and then set o equals to new outlook application. Now this makes sure that Outlook object O is going to be created. And then what is the next thing you want to do? Well, the next thing we want to do is we want to use the email item, because so what I want to do is I want to run the loop, right? I want to actually go in the Outlook folder. Let me just quickly go and open the Outlook for you first of all. So here I'm just going to open the Outlook, right? So once I have set up the Outlook folder, now once I have this Outlook open, now guys, here we want to actually define that which folder basically we are going to work with. Is it the inbox folder? Is the dummy folder? If the dummy is the one, then you will have to select the subfolder in the Excel, right? So that's what I'm actually sort of trying to do. And also because we have to let's say if I select the inbox folder, in the inbox folder I have to go to every email one by one. So for that we have the mail item class which you have to which you're supposed to declare here. So let's say I write here omail. I'm going to create that object dot mail item, set omail equals to, so this omail is going to be equals to what? This is going to be equals to create item ol mail item. That's how you write it, right? If you would have seen my the previous Outlook videos, those 40 videos, you know what I'm talking about. So basically this line actually talks about my mail item. Now omail is going to be considered as my email in the Outlook, right? Now because we have to define the folder also, so just quickly go and define the folder as well. So we're going to say that dim ons as outlook.namespace, right? Outlook.namespace. Now namespace is what? Namespace is a library which has all the folders defined in it, right? So using this ons, I can simply say that ons equals to now o dot get namespace, and then you're going to write here MAIPI, right? This stands for your messaging application platform interface, right? So MIP, you have to write this in this way. Once you have written that, when you press ons dot get folder, you see that get default folder, you will be able to see all the folders here, and this is what the folder is going to be. We're going to capture it from the Excel, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to define my folder. So I define my folder as dim fol as outlook.folder, and then set my fol equals to, then you're going to write ons dot get default folder. Now what is the folder? Now the folder has to be from the sheet, which is, I'll take you back to the Excel, and this is the Excel sheet, which is the name of the sheet is sheet 10, right? So in the sheet 10, whatever the folder I'm going to write here in the B2 cell, right, that I'm going to use it here. So I will simply go here and say that you have to be sheets, and then the name of the sheet, you're going to write the sheet 8 because I'm using the sheet 8, and then dot range, and then B2. So you will write here B2 dot value, right? So that's how the folder would now come into action, guys. We have defined the folder. Now the important part here is that how would you understand whether it is a subfolder or a folder, so we can write here the two conditions. So what I can do is I can say that if my sheets and then the sheet 8, if the value in my cell called A2, if it is going to be equals to subfolder, as you can see here I have written there subfolder, right? Make sure you should write the correct spellings, the case sensitivity part, because in the Excel VBA if is a case sensitive, right? So I'm going to write here subfolder. Well, if it is the case, then what do you want to do? Well, in that case, I'm just going to, this line which I have written here, remember this line, I'm just going to cut it here, and I'm going to say that if this is the case, then this is what I want to do, right? If it is a folder, I beg your pardon, main folder, right? If the user has selected here the main folder, then what I want to do is I want to run this condition, so that we should be able to find out that what is the default folder, right? Because main folder is always going to be the default folder. Now the important part comes is, which many of you have asked me, that if you want to refer to the folder which is actually not the default folder, like in this case I have the dummy folder and I've created it this inside this inbox, then what I'm supposed to do, how I can get this thing implemented there. Then in that case what you can do is you can say that if the sheet 8 is if the sheet 8 range A2 equals to main folder, then do this, and then you're just going to write here else if, and you just copy the same line, guys. Here let me just copy the same line. So we're going to say that if else if because we have the another condition, if this is going to be my subfolder, well, if this is going to be subfolder, then your set my folder should be changed to this way. Let me just write it down. Now what you want to do is I just go and backspace it. I'm going to define it again. Then we have to write the folder name. So I'm just going to write here that if that is the case, then use the get default folder, and in the now get default folder you have to write that it is going to coming from the inbox and then folders, right? This is how you write. And then in the folders you have to write this sheet 8 and range B2. So we're going to simply put this value here. So now let us understand what we are doing here. Okay, let me take care of this basically the brackets. So we're just going to sheet and the sheet 8, and I'm just going to close it. And then else, if else, then we can say that no folder exists. Please check your Excel cell, right? I'll tell you why I'm writing this, just in case if user forget to choose any folder or the subfolder from here, then this problem can come, right? Now we can do one thing. I'm simply going to insert one more column here, and I'm just going to write here if it is the main folder, right? So if it is a main folder, then what is the folder name? So we're gonna write here folder name, right? And we're gonna write here subfolder name. So let me just change these headers, guys. So if it is a main folder, then what you want to write here? So you can you can go to the data validation, and in the data validation you can write all those. For example, if it is an inbox, or it is a draft, or is it a sent, that sort of thing you have to mention here, right? So if it is a main folder, I just go and write the inbox, and I just don't use this obviously because inbox is my main folder. But if it is my, let's say, subfolder, then I just go here and I choose that that subfolder is created where. So let's say I created, as you can see here, I've created my dummy folder within this inbox. So what I do is I keep this folder name as this, and subfolder name here I'm just going to write that. So I just write here dummy. So now what we are supposed to do here, if you look at this carefully, so just in case, so if we have the main folder, if we have the main folder in the A2, which means here, so let me just do that. For example, let's say user has chosen the main folder. Now if he has chosen the main folder, then that means it has to be either inbox, draft, or sent, and make sure you should write the correct spellings, right? Because this is the inbox, this is the drafts. So I have written their draft, by the way, so you should write here there drafts as well, right? So if it is my inbox folder, then I obviously don't have to do anything here. So in that case, what you should do here is definitely your folder should come from your this B2 value, which is this value, right? But just in case, if let's say this is the subfolder in the second condition, which means that this is going to be my subfolder, then obviously I will have to mention that what is the folder name, and then in that folder name what is the subfolder name. So for example, I say that it is a subfolder, but it is a dummy folder, it is a dummy subfolder, and it is created within the inbox, right? In that case, this has to come from the C2. So here in this particular line, let me just minimize this. So in this particular line where you have written that if it is going to be the subfolder, then this value actually should be coming from C2, right? So what we are doing here is that we are saying that get default folder from the inbox. Now inbox, maybe user can choose here any other folder, maybe he can choose the drafts, right? So what we can do is, instead of creating that static inbox, let us do one thing. Let us simply get this value, this basically the the default folder, it should come actually from this value which is available in the B2. So in that case, guys, you can put here all the else if different conditions. For example, you can say that if this is going to hold the subfolder, and you can write here and the same value which is in the B2. So you can write here that if the sheet 8, let me just maximize this. So if in the value called this B2, if I have a value called, let's say, inbox, let's say if this is what we have written, right? If that is the case, then obviously we will go and make this, we will choose the default folder, OL folder inbox, and then in that inbox it's going to pick up the value from the C2, right? And then what you can do is, again, you can just copy this and you can paste this code again. Next time we can choose this for another folder, let's say for the sent or for the draft, whatever you want to do, right? So I just copy this and I just go and say that paste here. So now this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that if this is not inbox and if this is, let's say, draft, if this is draft, then that means my subfolder is created within the draft, right? For example, you can create, if you just go to this draft and you just right click here and you say that, you know, I want to create the new folder, you see that the folder gets created here. So that might be the option you would have created here, or maybe you would have created anywhere else also, right? I will not get into that. Let me delete the folder. So that's what I'm saying. Let's give all the options. Right now I'm just going to give you the demo for the draft and for the inbox, right? But you can use this else if as many times as you are declaring these, you know, the folders. So I simply say that if it is going to be draft, then this line which I have written here, you just go and change this. So here we're going to simply say that now it is going to be a part of OL folder draft, and in that draft my subfolder is going to come from the C2, right? So obviously C2 will have that folder name, right? In this case I'm just going to use this inbox, right? So subfolder, inbox and dummy. That's how basically we are following the sequence, right? So once you have done with that, then I'm through with this. I'm just going to declare only inbox and draft. I'm not going to talk about the send, but then you can use the send. If you just want to use the send, you can use the send as well, because when you just go and write ons dot, you know, get default folder, so what happens, you get to see here all the folders: calendar, conflicts, contacts, delete item, draft, inbox, journal, junk, you know, all these basically sent mail, you know, everything is there, guys. So you can put all these conditions in simple, you know, this one if, using the else if, right? Anyways, if nothing is selected, then I can simply say that please you know, mention this no folder exists, and then you can exit from the macro, right? So if I just, let's say I forget to write here anything and I just run my macro, then it's going to give me the error, right? So that's that sort of thing you can write here, right? So now what else we are supposed to do here? Now once we have got all these information with us that this is my dummy subfolder and it is created under the inbox, we are simply supposed to run here the loop. Okay, so we will go in that folder and then we will actually make the use of that folder, right? So how we are going to do that? So in that case, guys, we will simply write here for each of my, you know, my email. Now you know that what is my email which I have declared, that was actually omail. So I'm just going to write here omail. For each my omail in, then you're gonna write here my folder dot items and then next omail, right? Now as I was explaining you, if you remember those steps, so while we are we are accessing the emails one by one, before we go for the next email, we will write here one more loop, which is going to be a sub loop, that for each attachment in that particular email, check before you go for the next email. So here what I'm going to do is, if you just go here, you just declare here attachment also another class. So let's say I write here dim atmt as outlook.attachment. This is what we are supposed to do. Now I'm going to quickly write here for each attachment, for each my attachment in, you know, my email, which is omail.attachment. We are simply saying that now go for the next attachment. Now before it goes for the next attachment, let's go and save that attachment also using the .save as file. So where you want to save it? I want to save it in the D drive. And with what name you want to save it? Well, please make sure that you should give the name of that attachment as well. So we're gonna give the name as well. So my ATMT and then dot file name, right? So guys, when this loop is going to run, what is going to happen, you will have all the loops. You will have the loop, you know, every attachment going to be saved in your D drive, and then it will go for the next email, right? This I already talked many times. Now let us go ahead and let us run this loop and let us see that if we are done with this or not. So the important part is if the folder is going to be captured or not. So right now, as you can see, I have declared inbox and dummy, and if I just take you to my this dummy folder, let me see that how many emails we have. So guys, I have here one attachment. You can see if I just double click here, how many attachments it has. Only one attachment, introduction to VBA. Then this is again having, you know, attachment which is going to have three actually files. One is the txt file and the two are the Excel VBA files. Then we go for the another one. This is also having some attachments. You can see it's day 5, and then this is having another, and then this is also having the text file. This email doesn't have anything, and this email has the attachment, right? If I just show you one attachment. So now we have to see that are we able to get all these attachment saved in a D drive. So I just quickly go to the, this my D drive. So this is my D drive, which is totally empty. So let's run the code, guys, and let us see. So before I run the code, I just go and try to do some indenting. Let me just remove these blank spaces. Alright, so let's run this code. So there we go, the code is going to begin. So there we go. Now I have to see that what is the value in the sheet, this A2. So let's go to the Excel. So the sheet A2 is holding the subfolder, because we are talking about the subfolder. So naturally this main folder will not be tested here. It is going to go in the else if mode. Perfect. Now in this particular case, what I'm talking about is that, is it a subfolder? Yes, it is a subfolder, and at the same time the another item in the actually not the A2 but in the B2 is inbox. As you can see here, we have got this inbox. So if we have a combination of subfolder and inbox, then my folder should be decided by this. So let me just rerun this. There we go. So it actually did not qualify for it, and let me check the reason for that. So it went actually in the else if mode. So I thought it should go here because here we have the subfolder, and we have created this this B2 as well. So I just realized that basically it's because of the reason that we chosen the wrong sheet. It's not sheet 8, guys, it's sheet 10. My apologies. So I'm just going to correct that. So this has to be sheet 10. Okay, so I have replaced all the sheet 8 with the sheet 10. My apologies. And now we're going to run this code. Okay, again, so I go and run this code. This fails because this is not main folder, and as expected we got the my folder. Now this my folder is going to be set up here, guys. So what it is going to pick up, because we know that we have chosen the subfolder and the inbox here, so it goes in the inbox, and in that inbox it's going to pick up the C2 value. So now type is matched. So let's go and check that why we're getting the type is matched. So in the range C2 dot value, first of all we need to ensure that we have got the name called the dummy. Okay, so the dummy should be here. So dummy is, if dummy is not coming, let me check on that why the error is coming. I think it's because of this close bracket. I shouldn't have closed this bracket here. This has to go here. Let me just run this F8, and there we go, bingo. So we got the folder, and I want to show you what is the folder. Now you can see that the folder actually is dummy, right? So guys, now once we have set up the folder as dummy, my loop is going to work. And now the first time when it is going to work, whatever email it has, if you just want to have a look at which email it is talking about, you can put the message box here as well, just if you want to see that which email is going to coming there. So you can write here's the subject. So let me just run this and let's see that. So there we go. So today date sending email, do we have this file there? Let me just go and check that. You can see that this is there. Perfect. And if I just select that, how many attachments I have? Well, I have only here I think one attachment, right? Introduction to VBA. So if I just go and run this, now this attachment is going to work on this email, and it should save that attachment. As you can see here, it also shows me the name of that attachment. Fantastic. So now this is going to run. Now there's no other attachment, so definitely we will go for the next email. And if I just take you to my D drive, you see that we have been able to extract the attachment. Phenomenal. This is really very exciting. Now let's go for the next email. What is the next email? Next email has a title called great. Let me go and check that. So I just go and let me just, okay, so this is the great email. How many emails attachments it has? Well, I think it has 1 2 3 attachments. So this loop now should run 3 times. What is the first attachment? Pattern loop.xlsm. It's saving that. Now what is the next attachment? Template. What is the next attachment? It's the text file I was telling you, right? So we got the text file, and I think we are done, and now we will go for the next email. Fantastic. If I just take you to the D drive, right, so you see that this text file is also there, template is also there. So guys, this is how this loop is going to work, right? So I just quickly press F5, and these are all the emails coming, subject lines. Make sure you should not write all these subject names over here, because this is just for your understanding, right? So we have got all the files. I just go to the D drive, and we have got all these files which were available in my folder, right? Now just in case, if let's say we don't have any subfolder, so I just go and delete that, and now I say that it is the main folder, and let's say it's the main folder called inbox or draft or whatever you want to call it, right? Maybe you can use the sent as well, right? But remember, you have to make sure that that sent also should be written in the program, right? Because right now what we have done is we have only added two else if conditions, right? One is for this, if that it is a draft, then you have to go for the OL folder draft, and if it is going to be inbox, then you have to go for the inbox, right? So I'll just give you the example on these two folders only. So it is a main folder, it is the inbox, and this should not be coming here obviously. And now if I just take you to my inbox, let's see that what we have got in the inbox. In my inbox now there are multiple files here, right? And this let me just delete that. This is the calendar. So now you can see here test1, IDs, detail, test4, all these files are there, and my D drive is totally empty. And this time I want to work with my what? I want to work with my main folder, so I keep my subfolder empty, and I just go and run this line again. So let's go and check that. So let me just remove the comment from here. There we go. All right, so what is the first thing in your this? So your folder type actually is main folder, right? If it is a main folder, that means obviously C2 is not going to come here, right? That you need to educate your user, because in the C2 there is no point of writing the subfolder name. So we will simply say that if it is a main folder, then what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to actually capture the default folder which is going to come from this sheet. Okay, now it could be inbox, it could be draft, it could be anything. So I just go and write here, and let's run this. Now look at this type mismatch. Again I'm getting the same error, guys. So I think I should again go and correct these values. So just give me a second. So I guess because we are directly using the Excel value in the folder, that's why it is creating the problem. So we can do one thing. We can say that I just go and edit the code. So we can say that if it is a main folder, and if the value in the the B2, so if I just copy this and I say that and I just write here, if the value in the B2, which is this B2, if it is going to be equals to inbox, okay, so in this way you can write here. So if it is going to be inbox, then what we can do is we can simply say that my folder, this has to be inbox folder, right? So that's how you can use this, right? So let me just reset the code, and same you can again go and you use this line, just copy this entire stuff and just go here and say that you just paste the value here, and make sure you write the else if. If you do not know anything about the else if, guys, please go and watch my Excel playlist called Excel Vba if functions, Excel Vba loops, right? In that series I have talked about the if functions, else if as well. So I say that if it is a main folder, and if it is let's say draft, then what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to actually use here the this one, drafts, right? So basically I'm creating the code right now in front of you, right? Because these are the videos which I think I shouldn't be first making the code and recording it, because then you don't understand the concept, because I'm gonna be very fast in that, and I don't think so in that's going to be very that's going to be a good idea, right? Because we should see that how we face these situations, and that's why I record these videos from the scratch, right? Without practicing on these things. Now I have done everything, so I have talked about the main folder also. So if you have more main folders, just keep on writing these else if conditions, right? So now I go and run the code here. Now that, so we have in the main we have the value in the A2 as the main folder, and in the B2 we have the inbox. So you see that now it's gonna capture my that folder, set my folder as inbox. Perfect. So now the loop is going to run in the inbox for each my email, okay, in my folder item. The folder is inbox, right? And in the inbox, so you see that this is my first email subject, which is, if I just show you here, you see that this is the attachment 2, right? So it's gonna loop through all the attachments one by one, and now we have the no data. So no data is also, I think, another email. So yeah, as you can see here, right? So I'll just guys quickly run this, and there we go. So we have all the subject lines coming here. Let me quickly press yes, and we are done. And let me take you to the D drive. So we can see here that a lot of actually files are available in the D drive, which we have extracted. So that's how it is. So I think the good idea was to create the folder type, folder name, and the subfolder name, and then you can use this else if conditions. And I just scroll it up, and you can see, you can pause this video, you can write this, and afterwards this is the next part which you can again pause, and you can see there. right? So this is how, guys, this is the entire code, and I hope this will make a lot of sense when you will start typing this. And only the important thing in this code was that how basically you're using this entire if condition. This was the main important part, because the looping part is very simple. We just written the ready-made collection loops, but how we covered the if condition, how we check that, you know, if it is a main folder and in the main folder it is the inbox folder, then the folder has to be inbox folder. If the user has written the main folder and he has written the draft, then it has to be the, you know, the draft folder. So sort of this thing we have to, you know, create it. So we have created it, and I hope this is going to take you to the new height, and definitely this is going to be pretty awesome in extracting your Outlook files. Now no more manual work, right? Well, I have taken your enough time, but I think this would be very fruitful to you, and spending the time, this much of the time on this video, I'm sure you would not find it the wastage of time. And as I always say, that next time we're going to talk something more exciting in my next upcoming video. And please share the channel videos with all the professionals, all those who wanna be, you know, masters in the Excel VBA, Access and Access VBA. I'll see you soon, guys, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.